Yeah, 90th. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Was it 78, 78, 79, 79 for Penn? That target's live. I ain't gonna lie. I just kind of walked in. They, the vibe is, yeah, y'all don't be listening to Al Sharpton and that Jamal Bryant, sexy leg Bryant. Don't listen to that nigga. He gonna tell you how other men's legs are sexy. Don't listen to them. Go ahead and shop, bro. There's some black-owned businesses right now in Target. Don't give a damn about no DEI. We don't really care about that. Not really. Not really. Like I told y'all, man, these niggas be taking payouts at Essence and everything else. They want a side alley. They want an old school grassroots COINTELPRO under the table deal. These COINTELPRO Negroes will tell you what you shouldn't do, and then on the backslide they'll be getting a deal. Now if they were telling us, if they just hit us with the Umar and let us know, hey man, real chat, I'm just trying to get some extra. I'm just trying to get a couple dollars, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get a few bucks. If that was the case, and they let us know off the rip, like man, I'm trying to finagle these folks. I'm trying to finagle these folks out of a DEI check. I wouldn't really trip too much. But don't use us as the buffer for why you want to get a couple dollars when you know hardly any of these companies are in our best interest, and then tell us where we need to put our dollar. But you don't never speak for reparations. You don't never speak for anything specifically for the descendants of the slaves. Yeah, don't be listening to these Negroes. This Best Buy right here. Now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bust a right. So if this guy right here will just kind of let me in. Yeah, he didn't really want to let me in or whatever, but I still got in. That's one thing I tell y'all about Minnesota is this too. Minnesota, and I've talked to several different people from out of town, and I'm from here, so I can speak on this. But a lot of people, man, talk about how rude the drivers are. They really talk about how rude the people are. Very, very rude. They don't want to let you in. Now, this is the Best Buy campus. Best Buy has had its ups and downs over the years. I think this is one of the main campuses. It's crazy what I'm getting ready to tell you right here. It's like a deja vu. But I was out here, and I think I was taking a lunch break right on this block, walking around. And I was talking to my homie Stack Dope on Knox. And he's going to remember this. He's going to remember when I said, he's going to be like, damn, bro, you took me back. This year, this had to have been maybe, it might have been 2015. But Stack Dope, do you remember this? You were like, yeah, man, I'm about to, I'm considering jumping the broom. Do you remember that conversation, bro? I know you remember it, bro. I remember you were around. I think around that time you were like, yeah, I'm thinking about jumping the broom, bro. I just passed up the same place where we had that exact conversation on the phone. I was like on a lunch break or something, and I was just talking to my homies like, yeah, I'm about to jump the broom, bro. Right there, right on 79th and Penn. Literally, I never forgot because, I just remember little stuff like that, man. I do. Right here, I remember going to a restaurant because I was working at a company that was actually in Bloomington, and I won't really get into that place. They don't even deserve my breath. But anyway, there's Best Buy over here. Now we're on Lindale. This is Lindale. Now, I was going to wait, but since I'm over here, I'm going to hit the 90s. This is 77th and Lindale. I've always liked Lindale. I've loved Lindale all the way from uptown all the way up to these 90s. I just like Lindale. You know what I'm saying? I like Lindale Avenue. Now, the one over north, is a little different than the one over south. No disrespect to the north side, but, if you're from Minneapolis, you know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we ain't gotta shoot sham about that at all, But, You know, you could still tell, like, right there, you see we in the suburbs, but they still sell, but they say liquor. Like that place said liquor. Versus when you start getting into places where, you know, they talk about wine and spirits. Everybody knows what I'm talking about in Minnesota. If it says liquor, you know, versus wine and spirits, there's a difference. Now, it's the same, but liquor's kind of like, man, let's just go get lit. Wine and spirits, you're like, okay, we getting a little uppity here. You know what I'm saying? So, but nevertheless, these traffic jams are very, very heavy and prevalent on 494. You have a lot of car dealerships out here. So Bloomington is not what it was, what it used to be cracked up to be. At one point, maybe 15 plus years ago, you know, like around the time before we was really riding around in cars and stuff like that. Like, you know, Stagdo, you remember this, bro? When we used to, you know, we ain't really, well, you are shit. That nigga always had a car since Southeast. Now it says Bloomington, 91,000. So yeah, we're definitely in Bloomington. 91,000 people. It's a nice amount. Bro always had a car since that Jeep over Southeast. He always kept a car. Sometimes he may not be in it all the time, but man, bro always had a car. So I can't speak for him. You know what I'm saying? So he did a lot more moving around the city than I did in my early 20s but I remember, man, when I was on the bus, the city center days and a little after that, Bloomington was something to be, you know, that was super upscale to us. Like, we consider Bloomington to be like, you know, like, oh man, you stay out in Bloomington, bro? I mean, St. Louis Park to a certain degree too. I mean, these were suburbs where, you know, at one point, if you were able to get out there, you were able to have a job or you were hustling real hard to where, you know, people, you know, they like, oh man, I stay out in Bloomington or I stay out, and don't say Minnetonka. Man, please. Minnetonka? What white girl you dating out there? You know, that's what folks would think. Oh, you got you a little snow bunny out there? She's okay. You know, that's what people would think. I for real, I've heard that come out. I've heard conversations where a brother might be like, yeah, man, I stay out what we call it, and you know, some assistant, like, you got a white woman out there? He'd be like, no, I got my own spot. They be super geeked up. What? Nigga, you stay out in where? And you ain't got no white woman? Hey, what's up? Let me get your phone number. This is before this social media BS. Oh, you know, I gotta have a Rolls Royce and cheesecake ain't good enough. This was before that. This, man, you box Chevy Caprice. You an 04 Bourbon or a 98. We ain't got to be a 04. Be a 98 Bourbon. Don't get the two-door Tahoe. Nigga, please. Nigga, you on. Them two-door Tahoes are still respected because them 95 still going for like, what, 15 racks stack though? 95 Tahoe is clean. You gonna pay 15.10 for that joint. You ain't getting it for 8. Two-door Tahoe, you might be able to do it for 8. You get a raggedy one for 5 or 6. You gonna pay 10-15 for a real clean two-door Tahoe. You be done, might as well go to Toyota Maplewood. I'm not gonna waste I'm about to pause it. Another reason why I jumped the subject, because I gotta talk about stories and things that I was thinking about or the mind state I was in or whatnot as I was living my life, going around these kind of places. This gonna bring back memories to some of the homies that watch some of this stuff, because y'all gonna see some of these little spots and be like, man, I remember that, bro. Man, I remember that, man. This happened and that happened, and you know, because another thing too. Another reason why I did the Adventures of DP story is also for a digital archive. Man, anything can happen, man. Y'all might want to remember me or something. And like I said, I ain't going nowhere, but I'm just saying. Y'all might want to remember me. And y'all might be like, man, yeah, DP used to tell these stories, man. Bro had a way of telling these stories, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all might, man, there go another light. I'm about to pause it again. I ain't about to waste no story. And it's memory lane for me too. Like sometimes, you know, just going through some of these places, and you know, I enjoyed, you know, I just enjoyed it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to, sometimes revisit things like, and like I say, this is all content for me too. But whenever I pick and see something where y'all can make some potential money, I'm going to let y'all know, like I talked about General Dynamics. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Y'all going to have to do a little research. What is this? 90th and I guess 90th. Okay, but there was a place right here. I had an interview right up here too called the Great Bear Center. It used to be somebody was running an IT company or something, but I had an interview up here. This was when I was getting my little chops, y'all. This when I was, I was just getting myself together. Paradise Car Wash, they do pretty good work. So this is 90th and Lindale. Alright, so I thought it was 90th and Nicolette. Here's the Popeyes. Alright, look, this is it right here. I guarantee you this is it. I think this is it, man. I'm just going to slide through. This really brings back memories. So I'm just going to kind of go through here a little bit. And I'm going to go around. I bought my first 92 car right here. I think this is on 92nd and Lindale. I think it is right here. I think it was right here. And if it wasn't here, it was another one. But can I drive? Okay, I could drive back out. I just wanted to do a little, quick drive through. But I bought that 98 Regency. It was right here. Or it might be one block up. No, it was here. You know how I know? I'm going to tell you why I know. In a second. Because this David Fong's right here where I had something to eat. We ate right here. After I bought the car, we went to David Fong's and got some food, I believe. I believe so. But beyond here, let me see here. Railroad crossing. I'm gonna go down a little further because I think there was a store here too. There was a rainbow, a Cub. Was it a Cub or something? Let me see. McDonald's. All right, let me just see real quick, y'all. Because I used to, like I say, before my career really started kind of kicking up, I used to come out here. Man, and I spent a lot of time on 90th. So maybe it's a little ways down. But I remember there was like a Cub Foods. It's West 98th. I'm just going to make a left on West 98th. But I remember, okay, there was a Walgreens right here. Maybe it was on 90-something in Lindale. All I know is I used to come over here because it was this girl that stayed over here. And this was the transition between me working when I had my mini stop, one-stop shop. Is that 35 North right over there? Yeah, because I used to take 35 right there too sometimes. But then there was 494 that was over here, which I'm probably going to take on the way home. So I don't think I'm going to cover 494 for y'all. There's really nothing to really say. There's nothing really to say on 494. I mean, I could give y'all like a little mini story on the way. Let me see what do we got? 14 minutes. Okay, so I think I might have another 45 minutes worth of time that I could discuss. I'm not sure. I'm going to pause this. I never finished that thought because so many random thoughts just keep coming by or whatever. I'm narrating as I go. You know what I'm saying? That thought that I was talking about with the white guy that was helping me, when I was doing Sixth administration, and how he was telling me like, hey man, this dude's trying to impede you, bro. And they got rid of him. What I was getting ready to say, I never got my thoughts across that, but he was talking about how as you get, like he was older than me, of course. So he was well into his career. And he says, I don't come to the city that much. And to me, at that time, I didn't have no kids. I'm like, oh man, the city's popping. I'm thinking about all the restaurants I go to and all the, you know what I'm saying? And I can really do my thing. But to me, the city was popping. The city was popping, you know. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bust a left on Nicollet, y'all. I spent a lot of time on Nicollet on 90 something, way in the upper 90s, too. Cause I had a homeboy out there, and remember y'all, 2008, 09, 08, you know, when I had my shop and stuff like that, and, you know, and then I was working my introduction into the corporate arena and stuff like that. I was still thinking like a hustler. So I have my job, but I'm still hustling and stuff. And here's the thing. You know, like, I'm in that mindset where I'm kind of like, even after that, I'm still in side hustle mode. The guy's like, hey, when you get older, you're not really gonna go to the city that much. And you know, when you have children, you know, you really ain't got time and you ain't got much need. You ain't got much time, nor do you have much need. You know, unless there's something you need to get. So you're not really gonna just be aimlessly moving around. And the thing is, when you're younger, if you aimlessly moving around, or if you ain't got no direction on where you going, or I mean, you might be going somewhere to get some money, but you might joyride a little bit, right? Well, what comes with joyride? You with a whole bunch of other folk out here on the road that's doing the same thing. So yeah, you might have an issue here and there. That's just part of the game. You know, if you're not doing something specifically constructive, now wherever I'm out, or wherever I'm going somewhere, I'm going to get some money. If I'm not, you know, I could be doing a little joyride here and there because I was still new to driving. But at the same token, man, no. Matter of fact, that's crazy. Let me bust in. Let me tell y'all a little story right here. I didn't even mean to even go up in here. I didn't even mean, but this is Nicollet Court Apartments. I had a homie that stayed out here. The one I told you that tried to backdoor me. Which I think he tried to have his baby mama backdoor me. I don't know. They thought they would succeed. This 8908 Nicollet right here. I'm going to take out the little, you know what I'm saying? Let me take this out and pan around. This 8900 Nicollet right here. So I had a homie, right? And he always was the one. And Stack knows. He knows this story. But I had a homie and stuff. And he used to hang with him a little bit too. But, you know, it was the other apartment right there. I think it was. Either way, this is in 08 when my Dodge Spirit broke down, y'all. Or not the Dodge Spirit. That Lumina I got, that was around maybe 07. Yeah, it was 07, late 07 or something like that. I got my first car. And, man, that Dodge Spirit or that Lumina, the transmission went. So I couldn't back up. And, you know, I was in the winter coming out here hustling. So I remember one time I took the bus. It was a Nicollet bus. And that bus goes, it's a specific bus that only goes way out here to 90th and something. And the homie was doing okay, you know what I'm saying, at one time, but then he started kind of, you know, messing with money. I don't know if he was doing all right, you know what I'm saying, but then he just started kind of falling off a little bit. He started hanging out with certain folks and all this kind of stuff going on, and I noticed that his money started kind of, you know, and then I was like, damn, bro, like, so, you know, we didn't hang out as much. Then I noticed he started getting shiesty, and then, you know, he get to borrow money, don't call back, and he's borrowing the homie's borrowing the money, and he ain't paying them and all kind of stuff, and we kind of just sitting there like, okay, you know. And then he started dodging folks' calls, and we like, hey, bro, just let us know if you ain't got it, bro. Just say you ain't got it. Well, man, I don't like talking to people who ain't got their money. I'm like, well, you got to say something, bro. And that's when the backdooring started. You know, niggas get the lying that they in jail and all this kind of stuff here, and they just kind of, you know, and yeah, this is the area right here, because I used to stop at this McDonald's a lot. Yeah, it used to be this McDonald's. Yep. Yeah, I'll never forget. I don't even know if Culver's was there around that time. I don't remember Culver's being there. 08, 07, late 07, 08 kind of time, you know, I mean. And see, here's American Boulevard right here. So yeah, I keenly remember it. I remember it. I don't know how I can forget. You know, there's just certain things you ain't gonna forget. You dig? So I remember. Now I never really messed with 494 like that because I didn't stay over, out that way. I had no reason to go. But I remember these frontage roads and all this kind of stuff. So I used to be up and down around here. And like I say, I was hustling. I had my mixtapes. We was doing mixtapes. We was doing t-shirts. Really the computer repair. Around this time in my life, the computer repair was really popping. So you got to understand, I'm working around 08. Now I want y'all to think about this. How they say everybody can't go. Around 08, some of my buddies and some of the people that I did hang with, most of us, we all know each other. We from the same neighborhood. And then some of them are spread it out where, people from different neighborhoods. For example, like my homie Stack Dope, he was from over south, but he was from over southeast as well. So he was kind of a hybrid when it came to that. So he would just basically, be a little bit everywhere. Oh, damn, hell. Why did I take this? Okay. I don't know, man. I may have to get off and hop on 5 or something like that. Yeah, this ain't, I don't know about this here. 494 get all janky. Can I get off? Can I just drive behind this frontage road and get off? I'm gonna just let them go because they ahead of me. But yeah, but most of our friends that know each other, and I don't know if that's a Minnesota thing or if that's state by state, where folks that met each other at school, they continue being friends or whatever the case may be. My longer lasting friendships were from people from the neighborhood. And then, as you go on, now everybody can't go. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have friends that we've lost. We've had friends that got strung out. And we love them, but when you start going in a I'll say this, when you start going in a certain direction, in life, I'll say that. When you go in a certain direction in life and you have friends that go in a different direction, it's not that you have a problem with them. You go apart sometimes. The conversation might go differently. So, for example, you got a guy where, now you got to think, I'm turning 25. So my brain's fully developing. I'm wondering why I'm having these certain feelings, like where I'm like, okay, man, I got to figure this out. I can't do what I was doing when I was 22, 21. I mean, there's going to be certain pieces of you that don't leave, but I got to do something a little different. Now, when you start coming to that, you're not going to have a certain amount of time or certain things for certain people. You're not going to be able to, like, if you got a homie that, well, yeah, let's say he may hustle, but I'm going to tell you how this works. Most of your homies that hustle, they're not going to be able to hustle anymore because they're going to have to do time. And most of us, when we're hustling, or if they're doing, like, I'm talking about illegal activities, y'all. Now, I'm not talking about like kind of riding the fence here and there and kind of dibbling and dabbling like I was doing. Like, no, I'm talking about full scale. And I know this firsthand because I've seen it. I've been to the county jail. I've been to the workhouse numerous occasions. I've taken calls, JPay. I know how this works explicitly. Most of them do not put money up for lawyers because they figure they'll never get caught or whatever the case may be. And then, once they go in or whatever the case may happen, they don't, they're not thinking like that. Okay? So they might lose it all. And then if they get on probation, they go right back to what I was doing, working a little bullshit job. I'm starting off with the bullshit job, but my job is increasing as the years go on my skill set. So all that time hustling, hundreds of thousands of dollars and all that, most of them don't keep it. It's a few that have been able to, you know what I'm saying, Ebenezer Scrooge their way and be like, all right, I'm done. It's very few. Usually that plays out for the white folk. You see, Miami was built off a city of dope. They took that dope money and they built Miami. That don't work for Negroes all the time. Usually you end up in the county jail and in the feds. That's what happens to blacks. We don't really get to build entire cities built on dope and the government not target us and stuff like that. We don't get to pull Miami, Florida, Vegas, the mafia gets built all off of crime. They don't let us do that. They'll let us rock out for 10, 15 years, maybe at the max, and then you get a RICO. So most of the guys that I ran across in my life or friends or whatever, they might have been doing something, and then after a while they get that knock on the door because somebody told on them, and now they got to sit down. So they're not saving the money like, oh well, man, let me get a lawyer for $50,000 to $100,000. Well, your car costed $20,000, $30,000. Your rims costed this. You spent some club money. You might have bought a couple little pieces of artillery. You got another $30,000 for a re-up or whatever. You ain't got no money like that. You don't. 62 East. 62 East, not West. I'm taking 62 East because I want to get on 5. I don't feel like taking 494. I'm going to go on 5. We in story mode today. So I'm just telling y'all that you might have that one homie that just didn't get it. Well, man, I ain't gonna get caught this time, bro. Like, bro, you got caught twice. The next time is a long time. Well, man, I'll do it. Okay, so now let me tell you what happened to him. He gets caught once more, and it ain't gotta be a lot of money. I ain't talking about a BMF. I'm just saying enough. He making enough for somebody to tell on, and then he might do a little time. Or like he might have been a first time offender, whatever the case may be. But now all his money's gone. So let's say that dude, he's not really interested in much of a skill set or whatever the case may be. You know what ends up happening? He gets depressed and he starts using. I'm telling y'all how this shit works. Hit the like button if I'm telling the truth. He starts using. He naturally might get a little shiesty, start borrowing money, can't pay you back. He burns all his bridges. He starts using. Now he's even more depressed. Okay? We're on 34th. Now I could get off right here on and give y'all a little tour on Boston Fields a little bit. I'll do that another time. Ain't really much to see. But then he ends up getting strung out. And now that's the lowest level. Don't nobody want to help you. Your family don't want to help you because you done burnt that bridge. Don't nobody want to help you. So now you're on the street. You're not really going to be able to keep a lot of contact with that brother. When you see him, you're going to be like, man, I'll give him $20, man, and you keep him moving. But the man that you admired and the brother that you loved is now at the lowest level he's ever been, and you know he's probably not going to come back from that. I don't care how many times you give him $20. That's the best you feel you could do for him. You can give him $20 or $50 and you can be like, man, take care of yourself, bro. But 9 times out of 10, until he reaches a plateau or maybe he does some time and he gets completely clean, he's going to be out there for a while. So no, you're not going to want to exchange numbers and, hey man, let's kick it. Talk about what? You 10 years down the line, you got a family, you got a mortgage and all that. You're not really going to talk to him. And it's not because you don't love him. That's not why. It's because you got other things to do. Because if that would have been you, people would have been looking at you the same way. Well, yeah, DP done fell off. He out here, he out here on Franklin asking for change. Nobody's going to say, well, we got to get bro back on his feet. Not really, because we're in an economic time right now where people, they're going to be like, bro, let me give you a couple dollars and let me try to refer you to a drug place or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But once they see me down, I'm talking about to the point where they feel like I quit. Ain't nobody's going to dedicate that kind of time towards you. And why should they? It sounds brokenhearted, but why should they? You've cut all your folks off. Your mama and your daddy don't want to rock with you. When you cross your mama and you burnt bridges to your mama and your daddy and people like that, we got to look at you a certain way. Your sister calling us talking about he done stole something out her house and all this kind of stuff. You know, these are real stories that happen, y'all. I'm not making this up. Y'all know what road I'm gonna take. Shepherd. Y'all already know what road I'm gonna take. Uh-oh. Yeah. I'm not making this up, man. This is a story that happens all across America. You think it don't happen in Minneapolis? This is the oldest. I'm preaching to the choir times 10. I'm like TD Jakes without a scam. Huh. You know what I'm saying? So, you can't have that conversation anymore with these guys. Unfortunately, the world works like this. You got it, I got it, and you don't got it, or you ain't got it anymore. I don't care. I don't care. My favorite road, once again, y'all, Shepherd Road. Bring me all the way to 61, go through the east side. I got it, and you ain't got it. I don't care. Yeah, they weren't supposed to do that. He was supposed to, I think they get some road rage. He wasn't supposed to do that. He's supposed to just keep it moving. He's holding everyone up. I guess he don't know where he's going. So, right here, I could keep going straight. You could kind of pull in here, but I think there's like a Mississippi right here where these people standing. I think it's the Lock and Dam or something. Yeah, I think it's the Lock and Dam. I could have pulled in, but I'm just going to keep it going, man. I'm just going to keep it going. But see, when I had my rough trouble in 2024, I didn't even want to tell my friends, man, not really. Because I'm the one that's used to helping people. I didn't want to tell nobody I'm having a rough time. And don't nobody want to hear it half the time? No way. Don't nobody care. That's why when folks get on the internet, I forgot to do that program with y'all. Folks get on the internet and they telling these, like, okay, now this is for the sisters with no husband, or the ones that think that they're gonna listen to some, I don't even really want to say Democrat, but some little loudmouth, loud and wrong feminist talking about, well, you lost your job, 300,000 black women lost their job. You need to speak out. Speak out. Who's listening to you? People are laughing at you. Oh, it's not going well. People will laugh at you. They'll hit the like button and put a comment, oh, baby girl, you gonna be all right, knowing damn well you ain't gonna be. And they gonna laugh at you. They don't care. You should have kept that nigga that had that Amtrak job. That's what they saying. They saying little stuff like that behind your back. Don't nobody care, man, that I'm doing bad. When people see you doing bad, they really don't want to help you. Folks don't want to help you when you're doing good. But here's the thing about when you make it look good. I learned something from my homie Jay in Atlanta. He said, man, folks in Atlanta, they may not have a dime, but they'll put it on. They'll make it seem like they look good. They got to have a bottle with the table. I remember one time he told me something, I blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I said the capoeira martial arts is an all-time high. He's like, yeah, man. At one point, he booked Turk to come up here during like a Super Bowl. It was cold as hell. Cardi B was up here. This is an interesting story. I should get him on the show one day to talk about it. He booked Hot Boy Turk up here, right? He booked Hot Boy Turk. And he told me, let me tell you how Atlanta works, bro. We gonna buy all these bottles. We gotta make it look good. I said, what you mean? He said, man, if you look bad, ain't nobody gonna want to spend no money with you. He said, you gotta understand, a lot of niggas in Minnesota, they like the dick ride. They worse than the women. They see some nigga. He ain't even gotta be no top 15 nigga. He could be just a nigga on the internet. They want to be around them. Hey man, let's go to get a selfie. You got grown ass niggas that break their neck for selfies just because they want their own clout. They'll pay for that. But you gotta make it look good. Put some bottles, get the bottle girls out there, make yourself look like a star. I said, man, what? He said, bro, I ain't lying to you, bro. You get the bottle girls out there, make yourself look like a star. Make yourself look like more than what you is. He said, that's how Atlanta works. He said, you got money, you can make it happen. You ain't got to have a lot of money. You just got to make it look like you got some money. If you look like you fell off, you got to think, they don't want to support. They want to support the nigga that looks like he's the big young Jeezy Gucci Man trapper. They want to, that's what they want to support. They don't want to support the trap nigga riding a scooter. They want to support the trap nigga riding in a Benz. You got to make it look good. And so I realized something I tried. I didn't really think about it during that time. But I remember when I had my marquee and I threw some blades on it. And I was on 38th and some dude walked up to me. Hey, relative. What you got going on? I was on 38th. I'll never forget this. I put it in my book. Hey, relative. What you got going on? I said, man, I ain't really doing nothing, bro. I just do IT. What's that? And I told the brother. He said, you chopping blades off that? Computers, nigga? Like, yeah, bro. What? This was around the time when I didn't, like I say, you had black people in IT, but not like that. You might get somebody that, and I didn't even really know what I was doing. That inspired that dude. I could chop blades and I ain't got to sell no dope. I said, that ain't the only thing I do, bro. I said, I got an IT job, but I got side hustles too. But my side hustle was based on my technology. So that brother, he was a little younger than me. He probably thought I was the same age, but I was older than him. But I looked a little younger. But in his mind now, he's not thinking of the normal hustle that I have to do something illegal. And I admit, and I came on 38 because I wanted the Murder Dog magazine. They sold it there too. I used to have to go to the West Side to get the Murder Dog, the Murder Dog magazine. I'm not gonna say the M word anymore. The Murder Dog magazine because I like the Bay Area independent stuff. But that brother, that younger brother, was like, "Hey man, you know what I'm saying? Man, I wish I could tell you how to do that." I said, "Look, bro, try to intern somewhere, anywhere that got technology, bro. Just try that. You know what I'm saying? Get your resume together and just intern and just ask if you can intern." Because I knew he didn't have any experience. And I knew he did not seem like the type of brother that really worked the job. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not trying to knock him. I'm just saying. But off subject, yeah, the conversation is different, y'all. Your homies that think that way, where they're like, well, they end up with a job anyway, because if they end up on probation, what do they got to do? Their PO says what? Get a job. So we're back in the same boat. See, this rap shit and just, I'll say, street culture, so-called street nigga mentality has told us that we can just trap our way out of this. No. BMF has shown you several times. How many Smack DVD magazines, or how many Smack DVDs have we seen? Frank Lucas. Was that Rayful Edmond or Rayful Edmond or whatever? I mean, every kingpin does life. They're telling us this, that we glorified it like, man, shit, that was the man. That nigga will tell you I shouldn't have did that. They'll tell you this 30 years later. Sitting in Leavenworth for Big Sandy or you know what I'm saying, or Atlanta USP, they will tell you, hey man, I could have just went and got a damn plumber's license. It might have took me 10 years to get this $1 million, but shit, I could have got a plumbing company in 10 years. I done did 25 years and I'm broke now. You're not going to have that same conversation with people anymore. The conversation is going to be a little different. The conversation is going to be a little different. That's why sometimes, you know, I may be in a little ratchet mode and may send some people some, you know, a little text or a video or whatever like that. But sometimes I be kind of thinking like, man, I don't even want to text my homies or call them unless I got something constructive to talk about, man. Because I don't want to go too deep into some shit that ain't going to help them. Real talk, y'all. Sometimes I don't even be wanting to text my homies sometimes. Because I'll be like, man, I'm probably going to say something or send them something that don't mean no, that ain't going to help. I mean, it might give them a little laugh here and there, but it ain't really going to help them. A lot of people around me look at me as a nigga for information. Who am I to give someone a bunch of information that ain't going to work? So sometimes they be like, well, damn, I ain't heard from him in a while. Man, I ain't got nothing to say that's going to help you, bro. I don't want to just be wasting your time. I got kids, you got kids. You know, when you, like I say, these people that you loved and cherished 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, high school, whatever. I remember one time I was downtown, I'm walking around, I seen this chick. Stack Doe probably knows this story. If he sees it, I expect him. I expect he gonna call and be like, bro, I think you know. I know what you talking about, bro. I seen it. I'm downtown. This is before I had a car, but I think around that time I was kind of in the job mode. I think I was downtown and getting myself together, and I was right on the edge of getting into the IT thing. I was downtown. I was looking for interns, or I was looking for IT training. I was getting myself together. I told myself, I'm getting out these projects. I'm not staying here. All I'm going to be doing is sitting here smoking and drinking every day. I'm tired of sitting around burning CDs, making a couple $100 a day, as opposed to me making some thousands as I need to be. I made a stark decision that day. I said, man, I'm not doing this shit no more. I'm going to do it on the side maybe. I'm down there with and I put my interview clothes. I'm looking for IT training, but I got my interview clothes on because I want these folks to know I'm dead ass serious. I'm putting on this suit to let these folks know you're not just gonna stick me in some little janky class that's not gonna give me what I need. And I see this chick from South High, and she's looking at me. We on a 16 bus stop, and I don't even hardly recognize her. And she looked like she done put on about 180,000 pounds. Like she could just battle with a killer whale any day of the week. Wake up and give the killer whale the business. The killer whale's supposed to give her the business. It's the other way around. And I'm sitting there looking, and she's looking at me like, oh, you don't know who I am? She coming to me like Cleopatra. Damn, I'm trying to remember who you, oh, this is so-and-so. Oh, you trying to act like you don't know me or something like that. Like she was, and what it was is I just didn't recognize you, baby, because you done had 2 or 3 bastard kids. Uh-oh. I didn't recognize you. Conversation's the same. See, back in high school, or, you know, like around that time, after that time, we was looking at you as a star deal. And the thing is, of course I didn't recognize her. You know what I'm saying? Because she wasn't the same. Now, she said, you look exactly the same. I said, I hope so. I'm going to try to keep this vampire in Brooklyn thing going on as long as I can. But, you know, with her, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, well, man, you ought to know. She went further. She's like, man, you ought to know who I am. Like, you know, I know who you are. She wanted the same admiration that we gave almost 5+ years ago. No. You're a Moby Dick belly. You're a Moby Dick and a Krispy Kreme belly, you know, later. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to recognize you, and you're not going to get admired as the same. So when I seen who it was and I started talking to her a little bit, I was kind of like, I mean, I was cordial. I just didn't know who she was, and she was super offended. You know what I'm saying? You see things change. That's one thing about life is things change. And I didn't admire her like that. I'm like, his belly's looking kind of slouchy. You know, it's hanging above your belt. You know, your cabbage is getting a little sloppy. It's looking like mystery milk. You know, the melons are sloped over, you know, saying they kind of down to your belly, you know, like, you know, but I'm looking at her like, is that you? Yeah, that's me. I'm like, oh man. I had to stop myself. I said, oh man. And she said, what? I said, oh, nothing. I guess it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Yeah, I said, oh man. She said, what? Oh, it's been a long time. Too long. Too long. You know? So, you know, like, when people see me, I'm going to tell y'all about a story I had. And it's something that gave me, and that's what gave me my spark when I put on that suit. I'm going to tell y'all about this one dude we went to school with, man. My homie Solomon will know who he is. Around this time, I think I was still living at my mom's. I wasn't doing shit. I was wasting my damn life. Seen this brother that went to school with, his name was Brandon Macon. That brother had his bachelor's at one point in time. I seen him with his bachelor's one day, and then a couple years later, I seen him in the same spot, and he was working on his PhD, and he's like, what's up, DP? What's going on? Oh, man, not too much or whatever. I'm just kind of getting, and he's like, damn, bro. And he kind of asked me, like, hey, what's up, man? You smart. What's up, man? And I said, man, I'm just trying to, and he was talking about buying property. Now, this is in my early 20s. This dude's talking about buying property. I'm not even thinking about that. I think I was visiting my mom, or either this probably was around 02, 03, 04, 05, or whatever. It had to have been around that time. And he's like, hey, what's up, DP? What's going on, man? And he wasn't asking what's going on, like, what's going on, like, what's up with you? It was more like, hey, bro, what's up, bro? Get with the program, nigga. And he kind of looked in my eyes and he said, man, bro, you know, I thought you was going to be doing a little more than that. I said, what you mean? He said, man, bro, I'm about to get my PhD pretty soon, bro. I said, what? He said, yeah, bro. He said, last time I seen y'all had my bachelor's or something, like he was he had something, it was a bachelor's or it was a master's or whatever. Let me tell you what he was trying to say. Time waits for no man, nigga, get with the program. And soon as I left that bus stop, I got with the fucking program. That was my inspiration for me. I got with the program and I stopped bullshitting. And I realized, like, okay, I just seen you. Now, he didn't go to South High School with me. This is middle school, the last time I seen this dude. He didn't go to us. I don't know what school he went to. His name was Brandon Macon when I seen him. When I seen him from middle school, I didn't see him until we were in our 20s. And when I seen him again, that's how far he had went. You dig? So, you know, I took that personal when he said that to me. In a good way, like this is something my father should have been telling me. He's like, hey, what's up, bro? What's going on? And I'm like, man, not too much. And he was like, hey, bro, what's going on, bro? He said it like that, like, man, what's going on? Because, you know, he knew that, I could be doing better. He knew that. And he didn't really feel to lecture me. It's like what was understood did not need much explanation. So I felt guilty because I knew I should be doing better than what I should be doing, man. Because I seen it right with him. He didn't have no silver spoon. I ain't know much about his family, but he ain't have no silver spoon. That man talking about buying properties and stuff like that. He had his backpack right over by the U of M. You know? Yeah, I'm going to let this ride out. I ain't even going to edit this one. I'm going to upload this. Y'all can just rock with it. This is a whole little story. We on the east side now. We on White Bear. I'm going to let this rock out until the clip empty. You know what I mean? Like, that did it for me. So that when I'm talking about this conversation, it's long with it, but when I'm talking this conversation, and my homies listening now, I know they know what I'm talking about. When you get up in age, you just don't have the time. It's different. You know, you just don't have the time because you know you're off in bigger and better things. So you know when I get around even to this day, when I get around some of my guys that are super successful or be around them or whatever like that, it's not a jealous thing, it's more of a motivation thing. I'm like, man, shit, I need to step it up even more. And here's what some people will say, well, man, that ain't right. That's judging people because they do it more than you and it's going to make you feel a certain way or whatever. Man, the world don't give a damn why a grown-ass man ain't got his shit straight. They don't care. They don't care. When I heard that video talking about, well, you know, we need to speak out as 300,000 women that ain't got no job, they don't care. Folks be laughing at you from the background. They're like, man, you should have got yourself together a decade ago. And it don't sound good because it's venomous and poisonous. Yeah, venom hurts. The venom's going to hurt because it's going to bite you and make you say, well, yeah, this is what I should have done. I got to do it because it makes you account to yourself. So, of course, it's not going to sound good. They don't tell those ladies, hey, go get your resume together. That's number one. Well, speak out. No, get your resume together. Try to build a skill set. Put down the shade room for 5 minutes, man, and go on Canva. Bars. A lot of them ladies that was like, hey, I got a husband, or I'm about to do entrepreneurship, or I ain't tripping, I'm ready to be a mother. I don't want to be a feminist. Talking about I'm laid off, so I got to work till I'm 60. Oh, hell. Uh-oh. That ain't gonna go over well. I gotta work till I'm 60 because I said I don't need no man. Yeah, you're part of that 300,000 complaining, talking about speak out. Speak out to who would listen. Of whom of concern would bear to listen. I sound like I'm from the Game of Thrones. Of who of concern would bear to listen to you speaking out. The world don't care, it just keeps on going. And the world, you know what? The world didn't care when, you got to think, when I was standing there and I was in Cedar Riverside, drinking myself to sleep because I didn't feel I was living up to my potential. But I was in what they call a frozen state of independence. A frozen state of independence. That's what an old guy told me one time. DP, you're in a frozen state of independence. So what the hell is that? He said, you're independent. You don't live with your parents, but you ain't doing any more than what you're doing. You need to do more. And I'm like, well, I got my own place. He said, that ain't gonna cut it, brother. You need to do more. And I said, you know what? He's right. And that's what I did. And it worked. And no, it wasn't perfect. And no, it wasn't glorious. And no, it wasn't steak and potatoes every damn day. It was not. It was days where I wanted to call friends up. Man, I ain't got gas fare. I don't have money, bro. I need help. Did I call them? I didn't call them. They say there's pride before the fall, I guess, right? Well, I just went to bed hungry. There's a lot of times my lights was off. My phone, I kept that on for the most part. But a lot of times my lights was off. A lot of times I really didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't call them because I felt like I got myself in this situation. I need to figure it out. And that's what I did a lot of times. Because I didn't think nobody wants to hear my sob story as to why I effed off a bunch of money or maybe had a little too much Hennessy and didn't put that, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I said, well, I figured it out this far. And I really didn't have nobody of male leadership or mentorship to kind of sit me down on a regular basis and check in like, hey, man, what's going on? You need some help with something? Let me give you the little pointer. Didn't have that. But in hindsight, I'm glad that I didn't. Because everything I've got, I earned it. Everything. Every single cent. So the attitude towards folks that would not do at least half of what I did, no, I didn't really have a lot of sympathy. And, you know, unless, of course, they were mentally off or something like that. I just didn't have it. I didn't have it. Nor should I. Nor should I. I just didn't have it. But what I could do is I said, well, I got some knowledge. Maybe I could pass this on. So I started volunteering. I said, well, you know, maybe I could, you know, and I first started volunteering with the kids. The kids, they want to hear the information. Of course, I was a little too long-winded, but they want to hear, hey, how does TeamViewer work? I started donating community time. Like, I started doing that. And the kids want to hear something. The kids ain't really telling you, man, I ain't going to do that. Or that resume, that job don't pay me enough. Here's some nigga that don't know a damn thing trying to get into the job market telling you what he ain't gonna do, yet he's not in the IT field. Yeah, I dealt with a lot of that too. Can't rub 2 cents together talking about what degrees he has, and yet he still can't get a job telling me what he ain't gonna do. Then months later, man, you know, I still ain't found nothing. I bet you didn't, nigga. Yeah, you sure didn't. I wonder why. There's pride before the fall. There's pride before the fall, bro. You had a lot of pride, and now you fall. You are part of the fallen, like Denzel Washington. Bars. Y'all remember that movie, 1996, Fallen, 1996, Bars. Hell on Earth, Mobb Deep, it was written. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, man, we just grow. We just grow. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of sympathy for me. There wasn't a lot of sympathy for me, man. But the thing is people want to help me out because they saw that I was trying to do something. They're like, okay, he's always trying to do something. It don't work out all the time, but he's always trying to do something. And there might have been a little misdirected energy. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I got that respect. That's how I was able to kind of go around. People know me. They took me for my word. Bro's going to deliver whatever he said he's going to do. 98% of the chance he's going to do it. 98% of the chance bro's going to do it. If bro said he going to do it, man, he going to do it. And that's half the battle. That's half the battle. You know, so that's why, you know, a lot of times, see, I used to try to go into the corporate arena, much like the corporate arena is almost like the rap game. The folks in the industry, they promise you stuff. They say they're going to do stuff. They ain't going to do it. It's the corporate arena. I'm operating off of a handshake deal. I'm operating that you ain't going to be a BITC, you know, and you're going to, you know, whatever you say is what you're going to mean. And if you got something to say, you're going to say it. And then we're going to be able to clear things up if there's issues. But I'm operating, you know, and that's typical job stuff. But I'm especially operating in an IT space where folks don't really do that. So when I run across some guys that I'm working with that are some spineless salamander amphibious beta males that can't really say what's on their mind and they're afraid to say what needs to be said, no, I don't respect it. I'm not with the passive aggressive thing. And the night's watch is over.